Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I know you guys missed it, girl, but I was taking finals. I was a busy girl, but I'm back and I'm better, and I'm gonna give you guys what you've been missing, me obviously. So today I'm gonna be talking about New Girl, and on Twitter there's the discourse going on and everyone's saying don't make it your entire personality trait. Well, I have, and I did, so what are you gonna do about it? I'm gonna talk about the entire New Girl series and why it is that girl. Okay, no pun intended. So yeah, let me just start. I literally remember my friend recommending New Girl to me, and I procrastinated watching it just because I'm not really into sitcoms. Like, people try to get me to watch The Office, and I was not into it. I feel like those shows just first off, you have to be really invested in the characters because oftentimes with sitcoms nowadays is they don't really have like a storyline developing. So you just have to be really invested in each character or one of the characters to just like follow the ride that they're going in and hope for character development, you know? And I just don't really, I was like, I'm not into it, but I watched it. And you guys, I've rewatched it 3 times, and I don't rewatch shows because I just don't do that. But I rewatched New Girl. So I made a list of why I think it's amazing. So I think the first thing is the chemistry is unmatched. I think that like, oh no, let's start with the writers. The writers were in their bag because they wrote things in there that even now, like this was 10 years ago, I think that the show started. But even now I still get it. I see the vision and the chemistry with the characters and the art. Like it was there. They were able to portray like the idea of being mediocre, and like it was fun because usually people are like, I don't really like watching mediocre people or characters that just are struggling, but this was a fun struggle. So the chemistry was unmatched. I believe Schmidt was Schmidt, Cece was Cece, Nick was a hot mess. Like, you saw it, you believed it, you couldn't tell me otherwise. Jess was Jess, and we'll get to her. She got on my nerves sometimes, but I think the next thing is that this is the main reason why I think that New Girl was so successful, is because, wait for it, it was actually relatable. And let me explain. I feel like so many times we watch shows and then the like scandal, like Olivia Pope has her like it's a mess and you cannot relate to any aspect of it, but she just has it all. And I feel like with this show, literally all of the characters were like messes, roommates, like messy. Like, this is what you don't want your life to be. And I'm not judging, because I think the reason why I enjoyed them being so messy and relatable that people wanted, because I feel like oftentimes when people are relatable, like it's still unattainable. But I feel like with this, you're like, these people are in their 30s, their lives are like mess on top of mess on top of mess, but they're still happy. They still have an amazing bond, friendship. It's like a family, and you're happy. So I feel like for the first, and I'm not trying to say it's groundbreaking or anything like that, but I think that for me in my generation, you're looking at it and you're like, it's okay, I don't have my life figured out. I feel like that's a key element that people really enjoy with the show, because there's this element of, hey, they don't have anything figured out, and yet like they have fun, you know? So I feel like that was it. And I feel like in that moment in time, like 2010, 2011, like things were just interesting. We thought the world was ending, so I think people really enjoyed that. The next thing I would say is, so I mentioned this earlier, so the development in the storylines. I feel like I said, storylines in sitcoms are really never, no, they're non-existent, they're never really there. And usually what happens is, like, again, you're just following individual characters, like kind of just like one day they're going to Disneyland, like they're just doing different activities. You're not really following a development in a storyline, and that's okay, it's a sitcom. But I feel like with New Girl, it gave you the best of both worlds. And what I really enjoyed is that I'll watch like one episode, and then in the next episode, it's not necessarily a part two, but it's a continuation, if that makes sense. So I think there's like an episode where like Nick's dad passed away in an episode, right? But they talk about it for a couple more episodes, and it just keeps going on. But it wasn't necessarily like a part two, or oh, the drama. It was not the anticipation, but it was real life, because in real life things are not just in one episode done over. No, in real life things happen and they keep affecting you in different ways, and it's still present. And then so the other thing I wanted to mention is this show was so amazing at making it feel realistic. And I know the money was ambiguous. Like, how do you guys have a 4-bedroom loft and y'all make that little of money? But it felt relatable. Like, I feel like you have a friend like Schmidt, Probably not, but you dream of it. You have a friend like Nick, like you have a Jess. Like I feel like I am Jess sometimes, and you have all these people in your life that are there. They just were able to make it relatable and realistic, and I feel like they, with amazing writers, with amazing actresses, with amazing storylines, they stitched it together, and it was so entertaining. Like I literally think I could rewatch it again and not be bored out of my mind. Like it was funny, and yeah. So I think that there's a reason why people liked it a lot, and people on Twitter are all over it, and I am those people because I love the show. Let's get into the messiness. Now, who is my favorite character? And let's go through all of them. Everyone has beef with Nick, and they hate how he self-sabotages, but he's my favorite. I'm so sorry. He's my favorite character. I literally don't like he cracks me up. And I think that I forgot the actor's name, but his facial expression that he makes, like they told him, you just give 80%, and he gave 100% in his acting, because like he would make faces like y'all, he is a definition. He's a definition. He's the definition of a delinquent, and I mean that in the kind, like, and you know what? This is for all the Nick Millers in the world. He did it big for you guys, because he said, I will get the respect that losers deserve. Because he's a bum, but you still like him. Like, you still you get it, you get it. And I feel like with Nick, like, I think that the writers made such an interesting portrayal of someone that had potential. Because when you first watch the show, you're like, oh, he's just lazy. And then it's just season after season, you're like, he's lazy, but he has underlying fears. Like, Cap needs a woman. It stops people from like achieving their goals. So I'm not saying that if you are working as a bartender that your next life, or no one's saying that, but I feel like oftentimes people have all these dreams, and just because of life they've just been so jaded, and people will make these assumptions about them. And I feel like Nick, the writers did amazing developing him. That's all I have to say. So Nick is my favorite. Next, okay, so I think the next is Schmidt. And when I first watched the show, Schmidt was on. I was like, he's like 4, 5. I have beef with him. He's so annoying. Like, why would he do it to Cece? Like, annoying. But once you watch the show, it's again like back to what I said earlier with Nick. It's the storyline. Like he dealt with being bigger, and he dealt with all the trauma that came with that, and like he lost all the weight. So now he's living in a world where he's treated differently. I just think that's so interesting. And like, of course, like I feel like shows should do more of that, talking of, because I think even without realizing it, we could have a conversation about fat phobia, and how, especially when people like their bodies change, or even just like puberty, and how, not puberty child, but like when your body changes, and how you literally live like like you've been in 2 different bodies. I felt that was an interesting conversation to have. Next up is Winston. When I first watched the show, and we'll talk about like beef I have with the writers, but Winston is so funny. Like, no, why did I miss his humor? Like, I literally rewatched it and I was like, no, because this is kind of funny. This is kind of amusing, kind of entertaining. Like, I'm actually cackling right now. Funny guy, but can we talk about it? I know that I'm not trying to make politics about everything, but politics isn't everything. I'm not a fan of how they had token Black characters, or like I think even Cece was low-key. Like, I don't think her identity was incidental. Does that make sense? Like they were like, oh, we need this kind of room, we need this kind of, we need a Middle Eastern here, we need this one here, look, let's just, it's here. And I feel like they could, you know what I'm saying, diverse characters were just token characters. I think even Winston's girlfriend, I think she was Middle Eastern, but it was very incidental. And I feel like I hope I'm explaining myself well, but when characters are written in, when you can tell it's from a person who understands how important diversity is, it's not about inclusion, it's about including their individual stories and really developing them well. And I just feel like with New Girl, they didn't develop their colored characters well. Like, we knew everything there is to know about Schmidt, Jess, and Schmidt, Schmidt, Jess, and Nick. Like, they were so well developed. You knew them to their elbows. But we didn't really, like, Cece, Winston, Coach were all kind of surface level characters. Even Winston's girlfriend, and was up by accident. And I mean, again, the show was from 2010, but it still went on until 2016, I think 17. But again, and also there were a lot of like problematic jokes. But that show was really good. I'm not gonna they could work on that, and that's just something that needs to be worked on in Hollywood in general. But this show as a whole was so good, and I don't want to take away from that. So the next one on my list, so me and this girl have a love-hate relationship. Me and Jess have beef. Okay, beef, because I I never really watch shows and I'm like, I want to literally drag you, but I watch Jess and I just want to drag her because first off, she can I read her? Can I read her? Not really read her, but she acts like everyone else's life is a mess. But boo boo, boo boo, your life's the most messiest. You have the messiest life out of everyone. Out of everyone, I mean, Nick is messy, but your life is quite messy, girl. Like so many situations she gets into, she tries to put on the halo. She's like, listen, I am Beyonce. I do no wrong, and it's just like, save me, save me, save me. I feel like so many characters they just try to give like I'm perfect, I am a teacher, I am wholesome, but they just do exactly what everyone else does, but everyone else just gets the smoke. I didn't like the joke she made at Cece a couple of times. Oh, you've been around the block with my mom. Anyway, so me and this girl have a love-hate relationship, but I see a lot of myself in her. Like I feel like I don't feel like she's very caring, she's very giving. I feel like she's glued everyone together because I think before then they were just like the boys, but I think she made everything there feel like a family. So I have to give her props. And I actually liked the thing with Nick and Jess, and I thought it was interesting when they broke up, like they still were able to be close. Like I thought that was great. I thought that was great. So then after this, there's Coach and Cece. I don't know. Like to me, I felt they were just like minor characters, even though they weren't. Like they just were so. What is there to love? What is there to hate? Cece's gorgeous. Like when I first watched the show, I'm like, Cece's gorgeous. That's all I can. I know that we've established that Schmidt would be canceled if he were if the show started in 2018, 2019, but he was funny. Like his jokes hit. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm trying to remember. Like I think I was watching the show yesterday. Let me think of an exact joke that he made. Yeah, I can't think of a joke, but he's funny. I also really enjoyed how they just had like celebrity guest starring like things. Like I think that was like they had Prince, y'all. Prince. Please. And you're on Twitter hating telling me that I'm making New Girl my entire character. Like Prince. Purple. Hello? I think they had Serena Williams, Tiffany Haddish, etc., etc. So yeah, you guys, it was an amazing show. Comment down and tell me who your favorite character was, and